So I'm going to say something that is going to upset a lot of people right now. If you are a carnivore, you are keto. You are keto.
You just ruined somebody's day.
I honestly am tired of the names. Welcome to Keto Beyond the Couch episode. I have no idea.
I'm Rachel.
And I'm Joe.
And we are two crazy ketos.
Welcome back to the channel. We are on the low carb cruise in Alaska right now. It has been an amazing cruise so far. Yesterday we had the first day of conferences.
So good.
And then today we stopped at our first cruise port, which was Sitka, Alaska. We left about an hour ago. And, you know, we still have a couple more to do, plus the Glacier 360 turnaround. But I have to say, out of all of the three major cruise ports that we are visiting on the low carb cruise, Sitka is my favorite.
I've got to agree with you on that one. It's not that every single port doesn't have something beautiful to behold, amazing excursions, each of them very individual. But Sitka is very small. What do they say? It's like 16 miles of road in all of Sitka, and you do more than half of that. You're covering it just to get into where the welcome center is. So It's very close to everything. Lots of availability for you to just walk to something beautiful and historical. Lots of wildlife. I mean, we saw an American bald eagle
just sitting on a tree.
Just sitting on a tree and then flying around.
Yeah, it's really amazing. If you saw our video, if you're ever planning on doing a cruise to Alaska, we released a video of how to do it on the cheap. And that's one of the nice things about Sitka is that, yes, they offer excursions, but you can do those same excursions on your own for like a quarter of the price. But one of the things that I love about Sitka is the weather is just perfect. It's like moderate. In the mid 50s, they said it does rain like 3 to 5 days every week, but it's not really horrible. It's like a light drizzle. The temperatures were in the mid 50s now and when we were here in September. But also there's just like so much rich history in Sitka, and there's so many areas that are actually run by the National Park Service.
Yes.
Because, evidently back in the 60s, a lot of Sitka went up on fire. So the National Park Service came in and started restoring things and making lots of landmarks so that you can continue to enjoy that history, including the fact that this is where Russia sold, Alaska to the United States.
And everything that we did today was basically new. We explored like the Totem Museum. We went to a couple of other historical buildings. We saw some churches. So we did a lot of things that we didn't do the last time we were here in Sitka, all free.
Yeah.
It was all free.
I think including the souvenirs that we bought, which was like a t-shirt for me and a t-shirt for Peyton, and I got some earrings for Rachel. I think we spent like $50.
Hello.
So that's definitely not bad. But now we're going to get into Keto Beyond the Couch. Now, if you're watching this, this is a pre-recorded Keto Beyond the Couch because we don't want to rely on the internet to be able to live stream it. So if you're new to our channel, Keto Beyond the Couch is all about our subscribers. We do this every Monday at 10 a.m. Eastern. We do it live whenever possible. Now we are uploading this as a premiere. So if you're watching it at 10 a.m. Eastern time, feel free to chat amongst yourselves down there in the live chat window or leave some comments, how you're watching it. Are you watching it during the premiere or later on? Leave that all down below. But during Keto Beyond the Couch, we just love to celebrate subscribers. We like to highlight success stories, wins, and answer questions and comments. And I am going to encourage you, please head on over to our Mighty Networks group, which is completely free, members.twocrazyketos.com. Leave your story, leave a little picture if you want, and also put up inspirational posts because we need that stuff so that we can continue Keto Beyond the Couch because, again, we do love to highlight things. Your story doesn't even have to be like, I've lost 100 pounds. It could be something as simple as, for the first time in 5 years, I was able to bend over and tie my shoes. I mean, I remember the first time Rachel was like, Joe, I don't need you to tie my shoes anymore.
It was amazing. And we need to share those wins. Something that has just kind of comes out when you're in community are these little wins. People talking about how travel was easier for them as they came toward the low carb cruise, whether they drove here or flew here, the experience has been made better by keto. When we're talking about getting around, walking around, for some people, this is really a victory tour because they're able to do hikes, they're able to stand up for long periods of time, walk the ship, participate in the 5K. And it's just so nice and heartwarming, really, to hear everybody's successes. Because I think sometimes when we stay in isolation, we just fixate on what's not right. We sort of have a negative bias. So in community, we have an opportunity for us to celebrate the positive, and that's really so important.
Now, I am going to tell you, if you're not here on the low carb cruise, this is amazing. For us, what we love about the cruise is the community, which is why we are having a cruise for the 2KK community in December. It's December 4th through the 8th and the 8th through the 13th. You can do the first leg, the second leg, or both legs. All that information is down below. But we've learned some things, and I want to invite you to make sure that you are subscribed to our channel and you hit that bell notification for when we upload new videos, because we've had some eye-opening revelations just through day one of this conference. And these eye-opening revelations are really going to change the trajectory of Two Crazy Ketos.
Yeah.
We've really made some decisions that I think is going to help the channel and help all you guys. So make sure you subscribe to the channel for when those videos come out. But let's get right into Keto Beyond the Couch. We're gonna start off with our inspirational post. Now, this week it's gonna be a little different. I'm not gonna put all of the different comments across the bottom because it's just gonna be a lot to try to edit them and get it uploaded. We are 4 hours behind that 10 a.m. deadline, and internet on the ship
Wonky.
takes a little bit longer to upload videos, so it's probably going to take about 3 hours for this to upload. So we're going to get it edited, but we're not going to have all the comments across. But this one will be. So this one is from Debbie.
Hey, Debbie.
And Debbie put up this meme and said, no matter how hard today is, remember that you're never going to have to do this day again.
That is so powerful. And it really is, a reason for us to continue moving forward, because sometimes we choose to do a day over again, right? Sometimes we choose to be like, hey, I know what works, but I'm going to go backward in spite of what I know. Wisdom is knowledge applied. Sometimes we collect knowledge, but we don't apply it and make it wisdom. And so I am thankful that some of the lessons I've learned, the hard times I've gone through, I don't have to live through those. I don't have to live quagmired in like the shame and the guilt of the mistakes that I've made, but I also feel empowered that I don't need to make the same mistakes again.
Yeah, and this also applies to your eating lifestyle. Sometimes you may mess up on your keto journey.
Sure.
You may slip up and give into a temptation. And just like where Debbie is putting here, where like you don't have to live this day again. If that happens, forget about it, move on. You don't have to do it again. It's not like you're going to relive that slip up every hour. This is not Groundhog Day.
Thankfully.
Just move on from it. And that's a good lesson, that don't worry about it if you happen to slip up.
Yeah.
Now, the next one we have is from Jessie.
Hey, Jessie.
And Jessie said, I got some fresh in-season strawberries yesterday, and I'm going to use half of them to dehydrate and the other half for some sugar-free strawberry jam.
Nice.
What are some favorite jam recipes? I'm not going to use preservatives to make the jam. I'm just going to vac seal and freeze some of it.
Cool.
So we actually have a video where we made our own strawberry jam.
Yeah.
It is super easy to do. We actually like to do it with frozen strawberries. Now, we did it inside of a vlog. I'm going to try to leave the link for that vlog down below if I can figure out where it is. But basically, all you're going to do is put them into a pot with a little bit of water and some allulose. Now, we like to add a little bit of gelatin. You can use pectin if you want, but I try not to use pectin. So add a little bit of gelatin that you bloomed out, because that's going to help to thicken that up a little bit. And then also just a little bit of lemon juice to help those strawberries, not turn so rancid and brown, and it basically becomes a bit of a preservative. Another thing you can add in there is just a touch of citric acid, which really is like a preservative kind of effect. But I will leave that video down below in the description box. Next one is from Aaron.
Hey, Aaron.
Aaron said, another positive week of results. Maybe the scale moved, maybe it didn't, but it doesn't matter.
Ooh, I like that.
He said, my body's at the weight it feels it should be, and I know staying the course will get me to my goals in the future. They, meaning I guess us, create such a positive place for people. We try.
Well, thank you so much, and we're grateful that you're here. Every single person contributes so much to the community. We can't be satisfied with this community without you. Please stay in community, because you are very unique, and your unique light is what illuminates this space. It's not just us. We're just giving a facility for this community to take place, right? We're here as, somebody to welcome people as they come into community, but really the party's inside, right? And you bring so much joy, so much blessing, and your unique talent to our community. So thanks for being here.
Next one is from Lynette.
Hey, Lynette.
Lynette's been around our community for a while, and she said, please join me in celebrating. Today was my 5-year colonoscopy, and it came back 100% perfectly clean. This is significant because my father had colon cancer and lung cancer and died at the age of 59.
Oh my goodness.
I am currently 59, but a few months older than he ever lived to be. I have lived the ketogenic lifestyle for 6 years next month. No sugar, no grains, no seed oils, and no alcohol. Wahoo! So today I am refeeding and celebrating with my favorite coconut cream pie keto chow pudding, which we will leave a link for that recipe down below.
Lynette, I love you so much, and I am so incredibly proud of you. This has been a hard-fought success, and I hope that if you're listening here and you have a family history of X, Y, or Z, that you feel encouraged by Lynette's post, because a lot of times when we talk about family history and what you are prone to and not prone to, many times it's linked to lifestyle. We are more likely to live out similar circumstances as our family, because why? We eat the same recipes. A lot of times if our family was sedentary, like that was our childhood, that's what we carry into adulthood. So a lot of times we repeat behaviors, and we have a lot of the same things on our plate. So when we change those things and we kind of diverge and do things differently than our extended family do, we have different results. That makes sense. But a lot of times we're thinking, is it that easy? Sometimes, yes, it is. Sometimes, yes, it is.
One of the things that we posed as a question as the MCs for the Low Carb Cruise during yesterday's talks was, I asked the audience, how many people are beyond where they thought they would be prior to keto?
Lifetime-wise.
I am one of those people. When I first met or married Rachel, I firmly believed and told her, I figure you're going to get 10 years out of me. I did not think that I was going to see the age of 55 based on my health, based on my mobility issues. We certainly knew, and we were on track even 7 years ago for me to be in a wheelchair for the rest of my life before I was the age of 50. My father died at the age of 64 from brain cancer. My mother had colon cancer 2 years prior to that. And so I really never thought I would see the age of 55, but now because of keto, my health is so drastically improved, and I believe that I have lived longer than I thought I would, and I think I'm going to live a lot longer. And the whole thing is that I personally do not believe we are doomed just because we have a family history of different diseases or even genetics. I think that when you look at genetics and family history of diseases, as Rachel said, some of that was their lifestyle and some of that was their environment and their diet. And that when you change all of that stuff, you're changing your possible outcome as well.
Well, and as we were standing on the stage and asking people, the question began out of celebrating everybody's birthdays and asking, hey, did you think you'd live this long? Did you think that you'd be here right now? And almost unanimously, everybody that was celebrating a milestone, celebrating a birthday, were like, yeah, I've lived longer and I feel better than I really had hoped for in the past. But since keto, their thoughts have changed. And being in that room and everyone being able to see that, witness it, it was very eye-opening, because you're thinking to yourself, I'm the only person that thinks I'm going to die early and tragically and awful, just like my family. And then you're like, wow, almost everybody had that same bleak outcome before keto, and now we've all changed our perspective.
Next one is from Teresa.
Hi, Teresa.
Said, I'm having a terrible time with muscle cramps while sleeping in my calves, sometimes, but mostly my feet and toes. I'm drinking 2 salties a day. I've tried magnesium drops before bed as well. From Keto Chow on top of the salty. I've been keto for 3 months. I didn't have a problem before that. Anyone have any thoughts or other suggestions? Thank you. So, the big things that's going to cause muscle cramps, especially while you're sleeping, the biggest one is going to be electrolyte imbalance and lack of magnesium. Those are going to be the biggest ones. There are also things like overusing your muscles, some muscle weakness, and also some underlying conditions like thyroid and stuff like that. However, if you did not have these issues prior to keto, again, we are not doctors, nurses, or health professionals. I'm going to tell you most likely it is going to lie somewhere in your electrolytes, that something is imbalanced. Maybe you're not drinking enough water, maybe you're not consuming enough sodium. You might want to consider upping that magnesium at night a little bit more. I would look at, in addition to drinking the salties, I would tell you to maybe drink a salty about an hour before bed, because there is a decent amount of magnesium in there, and maybe even try the Keto Chow or the salty magnesium capsules or drops. I personally am not a fan of the magnesium drops because they taste nasty, and I think the capsules do a great job, but I would just continue to mess around with them, and some people just need a lot more. I need a lot more. I know Miriam needs a lot more. Yeah. Magnesium is just one of those electrolytes that's a little bit more difficult to get on a ketogenic lifestyle from our food, because you're going to find it many times inside of like more carby vegetables and things like that. And then you also have to realize that we are not farming on like great nutrient rich land anymore. So even our livestock, because people will say like, well, if it's such a great diet, why do you still need to supplement minerals? Because even the animals are not getting the correct nutrients anymore, especially in minerals and things like that, because they're on minerally depleted land. So I would continue to look at that. And if you need to, I would consider talking to a physician. But again, by you saying that I did not have any of these issues before, it really leads me to believe it's some type of an electrolyte imbalance.
Now, with that said, I was talking to my mom this week. She was, chatting with a friend, and they were talking about, cramping and stuff like that. And this is certainly not, for Teresa, but maybe you're thinking, hey, I have some cramps too. And during the dialogue, they discovered that a medication that my mom's friend was on, one of the side effects that was not highlighted, in all of the commercials that they do, and they say side effects may include. This wasn't one of them, but they found in a deeper dive, one of the side effects happened to be pain in the legs, leg cramps, and stuff like that. So if you are on any kind of medication and you are having leg cramps or you are having some kind of health issues and you're like, well, what's wrong? Make sure you are checking all of the potential side effects of that medication, having a conversation with your doctor, because it could have something not just to do with your diet, but also with any medications that you're on.
And again, make sure it's not just drinking electrolytes, but make sure you're consuming enough fluids too, because dehydration as far as fluid could also lead to muscle cramps. Next one's from Alyssa.
Hi, Alyssa.
Said, hi all, I've got to get back on keto, but I am struggling. I have put back on all 65 pounds that I lost. I am in deep carb addiction right now, and I am not in the headspace to jump all in. I have to plan to work my way back, but I am not there yet. To try and get back to the right frame of mind, I've been looking up meats and their protein amounts and looking at the carb count of non-processed carbs to try and start planning some meals. I also think I would do well, excuse me, with measuring my ketone levels because I'm a kind of a data kind of person. For those of you that use ketone meters, what are you using and how do you like or dislike about it? So first of all, when it comes to ketone meters, there are a lot of them on the market. The only two that we're ever going to recommend is either BioCoach or Keto Mojo. Now we have links for them both down below. I love the Keto Mojo because of the software and the different apps and things that you can look at, behind it, and also the fact that you can also do glucose testing and have 1 meter with 2 different strips, and it makes it just a little bit easier. With that being said, I have to take this opportunity to say ketones and your level of ketones is not going to help you lose weight. Like higher ketones doesn't mean faster weight loss. It doesn't mean more weight loss. The longer you're on keto, the lower your ketone reading is going to be because your body gets used to using the fat and can just immediately start using those fatty acids for fuel. And so it's not something that I would recommend to really focus on. It's a fun thing to look at,
Sure,
but it can be expensive. You're looking at the strips and you could end up spending $4 or $5 a day, especially if you're want to get really into the data, and that could be a lot of money. And I really think that what you really want to just focus on is keeping those carbs under 20 total carbs a day. Now I know you're saying, Melissa, that I've got to ease my way in. The best thing for you to do is just I'd say day 1, eliminate sugar. Just stop eating any sugar at all, and that means honey, anything like that. And then maybe the next week, move in and eliminate all your pasta grains and sugars and starches. But other than that, that's what you're going to need to do. And that's going to have nothing to do with, your ketone readings. But until you do get rid of that sugar and all of the pasta, the grains, the sugars, the starches, everything that turns into sugar, you're never going to really get the results you want. It's, whether you want to do it over a course of several weeks or you want to do it cold turkey, the only way you're going to get those ketones up and get off of the glucose is to get it out of your life.
So yesterday, Bronson and Natalie were bringing up a subject that we've talked about before, but I love having that just reminder that you need to kind of decide what you are. When you say I am ... what comes after that ... is very important, and your mind recognizes it as truth. So when I say I am a failure, I start collecting supporting evidence to help prove the case that my mind has already come to the conclusion of, which is I am a failure. Therefore, I'm going to fixate on every mistake. Why? Because failures make mistakes.
Right.
So even before you truly believe it, I am keto, I am a fat-fueled gal, before you even truly and wholeheartedly believe that that is your life forever, start to say that. I am fat-fueled.
Yeah.
When you begin to say that, you can start collecting supportive evidence for that case as well. So when you're going grocery shopping, you start putting things into your grocery cart that is reflective of somebody that is keto. So when you pick up a bag of something that has sugar or wonky ingredients on it, or flour or rice or potatoes, you start to put that pounds of potatoes into your shopping cart, and you're like, whoa, wait a second, what am I doing? This is not something that a keto person does, and I am a keto person. So I think you have to kind of decide before you see the success that you are going to be successful.
And the other thing, just to add on to that, and then we'll move on to the next one, is I would also say, stop saying I am a carb addict.
Yeah.
Stop saying that, because until you stop saying I am a carb addict, you are going to be a carb addict, because you're literally declaring every day I'm a carb addict.
Right.
And it's going to be much more difficult to overcome the desire to have carbs if you continue to declare yourself as a carb addict.
In the present, we've said before, we're former carb addicts, but there is always hope. I love when Dr. Childers was speaking and she was like, there's always room for hope. I thought that was the most inspiring moment for me to just hear that sentence. There is always room for hope. So, and we have lived that out. There was a time when I would have identified that I'm a carb addict and there's never any hope for me. But you know what? There's always room for hope. And carb addict is now in the former.
Next one is from Jeannie.
Hi, Jenny.
I was just thinking about advertising and labels and how they've sometimes often used to manipulate people, like serving sizes, net carbs, keto, fat-free, organic. One that I noticed an increase in recently is grass-fed, especially when related to beef. My understanding is all cattle are grass-fed for most of their lives, but only some are grass-finished. Most are grain-finished. So when something is labeled grass-fed, it's just an advertising hook. Question mark? Does it indicate something more than meat from usual grass-fed, grain-finished cow, or is it the same as most beef in a grocery store? It is completely a marketing gimmick, and there are a lot of them. For example, grass-fed, grass-finished. So even grass-fed, grass-finished, unless you're getting it from a local farmer, a lot of the grass-fed, grass-finished, especially like if you go to places like Costco or Whole Foods and you see it at like $5.99 a pound, that is all what we call greenwash, which means most likely it's not from the United States. It's from foreign countries, whether it be Brazil or Australia, and it gets imported. It's been greenwashed into the United States. So yes, all cattle is raised on grass, and then the last couple of their lives, like the last 10% of its life, it'll come in and go into a feedlot, be fed grains to fatten it up. Even here's another one for you when it comes to beef, and that is the idea of prime cuts.
Yes.
If you ever see a label that says grass-fed, grass-finished prime, that's not possible.
It's not a thing.
It's a lie, because prime is based on the marbling of the meat, and grass-fed, grass-finished beef cannot have the marbling required to be a prime cut of beef. So even like, to me, the choice, the prime, all of that is kind of, you know, a big labeling thing. But that's even why we got into doing product reviews, because of the labeling thing. Another one you'll see on poultry, where they'll put like hormone-free. All poultry is hormone-free. And they actually had to make them change even the labels that, you know, like it'll say like hormone antibiotic-free, and then somewhere in tiny little print you'll find on there say, but all poultry must be hormone-free. But they use it as like a way to get you to buy it, and you just have to be aware of these things. Again, net carb is a joke. It's not real. Okay, net carb was made up by the food industry to get us to buy products, because they needed to figure out a way to get us to buy stuff, because they know we're counting carbs. So they're like, well, these carbs don't count and these carbs don't count. Well, yeah, you're right. The fiber in broccoli, yeah, your body's not going to digest that, but that's not the same as soluble corn fiber.
Right, exactly. It's funny, you know, sometimes when I'm in the grocery store and I'm looking at some of these labels that are touting all these things, it reminds me of shopping for blocks when we were in kids ministry. So if you go to just a regular toy store, you go to the toy section of your Target or your Walmart, you're going to find blocks. You go to a teacher's supply store and you're going to have blocks that are marked learning toys. Well, guess what? When they slap that little learning toy on it, they can charge you so much more money, right? Because they're just adding a learning toy. But the child is going to have just as much fun with a bag of Target blocks as they are with blocks that you're going to find at a specialty store, a boutique of some sort, with that learning toy added on.
Next one is from Living on a Budget.
I love that name.
Thank you for being understanding of people who may need an on-ramp. Sometimes we need it. I did keto for a year and needed ways to help ease the transition. I lost weight, had major health improvements, including type 2 diabetes remission. I slowly fell off, and now I'm back for my health. Sometimes I don't want to stick it out in social situations, and I don't need those recipes every day, but it's nice to have an option at work, at a work party. Also, I love casseroles.
I really appreciate this comment. Thank you for sharing it. One of the pivots that Two Crazy Ketos is definitely making is not being so timid and apologizing for our keto. This is the way that we live, and we've been very successful, and we feel great in our bodies, and we try to facilitate community. And I don't want to spend a lot of time trying to apologize for what we're not doing. Some people will say we do things too easy, people say we do things too hard, right? So I think it's really important that for us, we're just authentic. And for us, we believe that there should be opportunities for an on-ramp in keto. Some people just want to go straight from standard American diet to lion diet. If that's something that you are able to achieve, we celebrate that. You are so welcome here. But for a lot of people, I think that we need to throw out the welcome mat if they need to make things like fat bombs and mug cakes and all of those things, even look-alike recipes like a keto lasagna, because that's going to help them baby step into keto. And I just want everybody here. That's what I want.
We are going to take a quick fade to black for a commercial. Okay, we're back. So actually we took a quick fade to black for me to put my sweatshirt on because it all of a sudden got cold right now. And believe it or not, it is 8:00 p.m. right now.
It looks like it's 4:00 in the afternoon, but no, it is 8 p.m. right now.
And it has been sunlight since about 3:34 a.m. this morning.
Welcome to Alaska.
Okay, next one is from Transforming in Progress.
Well, hello.
Thank you so much for sharing your WL weight loss journey and life experience stories. I was always overweight and obese my entire life, the fat girl. I've just achieved my goal weight of 135 pounds, 5'3". Starting highest weight was 270 pounds. I've had a successful 18-month weight loss journey eating low-carb keto on an intermittent fasting schedule and daily light cardio. I'm a 62-year-old woman. I so identify with your wish that you had gotten healthy when your children were growing up,
Sure.
But we can only move forward and maintain our health as best as possible. I presently reverse diet to reset my metabolism, and you have such great advice. Thank you. It kind of falls back in line with what Debbie said at the very beginning with I think about that all the time. If I only could have done this for my kids, but we can't think about yesterday. We can only think about tomorrow.
There is a reason why the rear view mirror is a lot smaller on your vehicle than the window in the front. Right? You need to be able to see what's ahead of you. You need to be focused on that, what is moving forward, than looking behind you. If you spend too much time looking behind you in that rear view mirror, you're going to crash the car. Don't crash the car. Just continue to look ahead. That's where your future lies.
Next one is from Karen.
Hey, Karen.
I can't do keto because so many things they put in the products. I stay away from all seed oils, artificial sugars, and natural flavors. A simple cold coffee is homebrewed with some added grass-fed butter and heavy cream. Pour over ice for a delicious cold coffee. Well, here's my thing. Products that are labeled keto have nothing to do with your ability to do keto.
Right.
You don't need to buy one product that does keto,
No.
That's labeled keto. You don't need Keto Chow. Does Keto Chow help things? Absolutely. For some people, Keto Chow helps people get through a busy day where they don't have time to cook something. For some people, something like a keto brick, we will use that when we go on excursions because I don't want to spend $45 in port, but I want to eat something, so I'll bring a piece of keto brick or something like that with me. But you don't need that stuff, and there is zero reason for keto products stopping you from doing keto, because honestly, all you need to do keto is meat and maybe a little bit of vegetables.
Yeah, we shouldn't get so hung up on titles. Don't get lost in that. It's really, sometimes I feel like the different levels of little keto classifications become like churches, like denominations of churches, so that people can distinguish themselves on their particular set of guidelines that they like to follow best. It was funny, we're on the low carb cruise. We're not on the keto cruise. We're not on the carnivore cruise. We're not on the ketovore cruise. We're on the low carb cruise because really we're all low carb. Now, how low in carb you are varies by individual. However, none of us were like, you know what, if you don't change the name of this cruise to X, Y, or Z, I don't feel comfortable getting on it because that's not how I identify myself. We all knew what it meant when we stepped on the low carb ship. We are fat fueled because you're either fat fueled or you're carbohydrate fueled. If you are fat fueled, whatever you use to make that happen and however many carbohydrates are in your life, that's up to you, and that's going to be very individualistic. But whether you are a carnivore, ketovore, low carb, paleo, you're at the right place.
So I'm going to say something that is going to upset a lot of people right now. If you are a carnivore, you are keto. You are keto.
You just ruined somebody's day.
I honestly am tired of the names. I mean, and I'm not trying to come off as being mean, but I'm tired of the names of I'm keto, I'm carnivore, I'm ketovore. If you are eating a carnivore lifestyle, you are keto.
We're friends.
You are eating a ketogenic, you are eating a stricter form of keto. But carnivore is not necessarily better than keto because carnivore is keto.
Right.
So, and that is something that we all as a community need to move in. It's literally becoming like church denominations.
It is.
Like there was one church, you had the Christian church, and then you had one denomination, and then somebody didn't like something in this denomination, so they went out and changed a couple rules and made it this one, but we're still all Christians.
It's usually it's just a little tweak in the way somebody's doing something. We don't have to establish a whole new thing in order for somebody to feel comfortable. So if you are fueled by fat instead of carbohydrates, then you are in the right place. Don't worry about that. And during your lifetime, even from this time on, your level of carbohydrates and the ingredients that you have in your life may go up and down. What you're eating right now, what you are shopping for at the grocery store, it may be a slightly different list moving forward. It may change based on seasons of your life, right? So don't get so hung up in the I am ... when it comes to the way that you're eating right now, because what happens is if you say, hey, I am only ever going to be this thing, then if you have to change it for some reason, and it could be a really good reason, like you need to tweak on something because you're working with your doctor, you're going to feel guilt and shame about that, or you're going to worry that you're going to lose friends over it. So let's just not put so many titles on the thing.
Now back to Karen's comment, one other thing I wanted to state in here, and again, this is going to be another unpopular opinion, but this is the truth. Seed oils are keto friendly.
Yes, you will.
Okay.
Yeah.
Seed oils have nothing to do with ketogenesis, with being in ketosis. They have nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
You can consume seed oils on a ketogenic diet. Now, with that being said, should you consume seed oils on a ketogenic diet? No. You should not consume seed oils if you are on a paleo diet.
Nope.
You should not consume seed oils if you are on a standard American diet. You should not consume seed oils if you were eating a vegan lifestyle, because seed oils are toxic.
For everybody.
But they have nothing to do with keto. I lost over 100 pounds on the ketogenic lifestyle consuming seed oils. And though I do believe we should all knock it out, sometimes when you first get started, people just can't afford it. Now, I will tell you, if you're looking at, if you just get started on keto and you're going down, I need to make this change, and this change, after cutting out the sugar, pasta grains, and starches, the very next change you should make is getting rid of all seed oils out of your life. Getting rid of seed oils is more important than eating pasture-raised poultry, pasture-raised eggs, grass-finished beef. Seed oils should be the very next step, but it still has nothing to do with keto. With keto, they are just toxic to your body, but you can absolutely enter into a ketogenic state consuming seed oils.
I was just thinking, that first couple years, when we started keto, we used like Hellmann's mayonnaise. It's like nothing but a
because
ball
we
of
couldn't
seed oil.
afford anything else.
Well, and honestly, to begin with, we didn't know any better.
No, we didn't.
Yeah. So it worked. Keto worked as far as like we felt better. I mean, Joe got out of the wheelchair utilizing seed oils, but did he feel as good as he feels now without them? No.
I mean, I didn't know about the seed oils and the inflammation, and when I cut them out, I felt even better. And now, if I have something with a lot of seed oil in it, do I feel that inflammation? Yes, I do. Now, if I have a touch of ranch dressing that has seed oil, does it really impact me? No, it doesn't. We talked about during the low carb cruise on day one, and that for me, like on a cruise or if I'm going out to dinner, 90% is good enough. If seed oils are not a part of my everyday life and I go out to a restaurant and the only salad dressing they have has a touch of seed oil in there, I personally don't worry about it because it's not something I consume every day, but something like potato chips where you're deep frying a potato. I don't eat potato chips. I'm just giving you an example. Like wings, there's a better example.
Frying a turkey.
If I eat wings or a turkey fried in seed oils, my body will immediately know it and I will get a lot of inflammation and I feel it in the form of the arthritis flaring back up. So the next one we have is from Exposing Darkness.
Hey, what's up, Stephanie?
And this one says, this is actually on our blog, I can't help but feel that the meat chickens are against God because they are definitely not what he designed. So I have mixed feelings about that and therefore eating chicken. So I wanted to clear something up. So if you saw our video, we talk about meat chickens. So when you look at chickens, there are several different breeds of chickens.
Loads of breeds.
There are some chickens that lay more eggs than other chickens. For example, you have Rhode Island Reds and White Leghorns. They lay more eggs. They're all different. They have different things. Some lay less. Some of them have bigger combs, and they don't do well in the winter because they can get frostbite. Some of them are more friendly. Some of them crow more. I mean, they're all creatures that God designed. Some chickens are plumper, and we have chickens that are where we say they're dual purpose because they lay eggs, but they also get big and plump. And then you have something like a Leghorn, which are very lanky and they're not very good for meat. Meat chickens are just chickens that literally are big plump ones. And the ones that we buy in the grocery stores they're not genetically altered chickens. They're just a crossbreed. They took two different breeds of chickens, which can happen in the wild. It happens on our farm. We call them barnyard mixes. We have two different breeds of roosters, but sorry, those two different breeds of roosters are having sex with 12 other breeds of chickens that we have on our farm. That's what meat birds are. They are, at least the Cornish cross ones. Go ahead.
Think about golden doodles. So why is somebody having something like a golden doodle, a labradoodle, is because they want a certain temperament, and then they also want a certain hair because maybe it's better for shedding or people who have allergies. Well, it's the same thing. These are two different breeds that have been bred together in order to have an outcome where they grow fast and then also they have a great big breast.
Now, our next batch of chickens, which we're actually going to be doing when we get home from the low carb cruise, they grow a little bit slower but require more feed. So the whole idea of the Cornish cross, which is what we all get in our grocery stores, they take one chicken that has a really big breast, and then they take another chicken that is a very fast grower, and they just basically breed them together. You can breed them at home yourself, but you're not going to get the same genetics. But these are not hybridized where we have genetically gone in and altered them. Now, you can also say the same thing about every other piece of food that we're eating. There is not a fruit on the planet that is the same fruit that God designed.
Right.
Okay, it has all been hybridized. It has all been genetically altered to be sweeter, to taste different, to be larger. It's something Maria Emmerich talks about. A wild strawberry is about that big.
Teeny tiny.
Go take a look at the strawberries in Costco. The other one that she talks a lot about is cotton candy grapes. They have like, I forgot, it's like a ridiculous amount more sugar than regular grapes. Like watermelons, the old wild watermelons had like 4 carbs for the entire watermelon. That's not the case because it's even cattle, none of it is the same stuff. So we can't really get too hung up in that. What you really need to worry about is like genetically altered, like stuff that has been created in a laboratory, like the meats and
pretend meats.
Like that. That's where you need to really worry about it. Next one we have is from Sandra.
Hey, Sandra.
We have predators. We have foxes, raccoons, and fisher cats in our neighborhood, and they are so aggressive. I have metal frames with double wire cover and metal siding over our coop to protect them. I cannot free range, unfortunately. My chickens are so vulnerable. And we also have cameras and a dog. My chickens are so sweet and love human company, but it is a big job to protect them. It is a big job. We're blessed. We have not lost any animals to predators. The biggest thing for predators for a lot of people is making sure you have things that can alert the other animals of the predators. Like, so for us, turkeys and roosters, the roosters are amazing. As soon as they see a hawk fly, they make all kinds of noises and all of the chickens scatter to protection. But not everybody can do it, but that's where, like, if you're interested in raising poultry, using mobile coops.
That's what I was going to say. Is that might be a good, alternative. Is you can't just let them walk around everywhere. You want to keep them contained in a certain place, but you want to practice regenerative farming. I'm going to say mobile coops is where it's at because they can be moved safely to new fresh grass every single day.
Next one is from Emery.
Hey, Emery.
I realized that I have been doing wrong. I cut back on my food to almost nothing, like 500 to 600 calories per day, 2 scrambled eggs in the morning and a salad in the afternoon, and then I get hungry at 1 a.m. and I can't sleep. I'm not even eating enough protein either. So this is where we are in a disagreement with some people in the keto space who say there are, back up. There are some keto people in the space that say it is all about calories in, calories out, and you do have to just keep cutting back calories till you lose weight. And that is where we, as well as other people in the space, disagree. Now, we disagree from personal experience because we witnessed Rachel lower her calories all the way to 500 calories and then gain 70 pounds.
I mean, everything is very individual and we understand that. And I understand, trying to manage, calories because that's what we know. And so we want to develop a personal fence around that sort of thing. But I do believe that there is a time that you can, because of severe calorie restriction, mop yourself into a corner that is so small that you even begin to gain weight in the midst of a very tiny amount of calories because your body, and rightfully so, is trying to keep you alive. And so it's not going to let go of anything. It needs to store every single thing that you have and hold on to it tightly because if it lets it all go, you are going to die of starvation.
So here's the thing, and this is where I think some people forget. Can you cut calories? You have to. It does come down to, I don't like the term calories, but when you look at like grams of fat, grams of protein, you do need to eat less fuel
than you require.
Than your body requires in order to lose weight. We completely agree with that. However, we're not supposed to do that long term, and many of us do it for months and years at a time without ever taking a break. And that is where our mistake is. And you cannot just continue to lower it and continue to lower it and continue to lower it without ever taking that break. We talked about that a couple weeks ago where, again, if you think about where we yo-yo dieted in the past, and I think this is what's leading to a lot of stalls on keto, you would diet and then you would quit that diet either when you got to your goal or when you just quit the diet because you gave up, and then you'd go back to eating what you want. Well, that was your refeed in essence, right? And then eventually you diet again and you can kind of do the same thing. But many people on keto never actually quit.
Yeah.
And so your body hits that stall, but you never do that refeed. Somewhere you have to do that refeed to get your metabolism going again. And I'm glad that you recognize that, yes, in my personal opinion, based on everything that we have researched and talking to medical professionals and our own personal experience, 500 to 600 calories is too low. I personally think that from going down to 12, 13, 1400 calories for more than a week or two is too low for anybody. You know, again, you have to go up and down. And if you're eating 2 scrambled eggs in the morning and a salad in the afternoon, you're not even getting the nutrients you need.
Well, and think about how long are you going to keep that up? If you are white knuckling it at 1,200 calories right now, would you like to continue attempting to white knuckle it and then also lower it for the next 50 years? Is that something you want to do? Because I don't.
Next one is from Hope.
Hey, Hope.
Or Hope Michelle.
Hey, Hope.
Carnivore definition to meat-only diet people is ridiculous. There are many types of carnivores. There's hypercarnivore, facilitative carnivore, mesocarnivore, hypercarnivore. The carnivore diet, and they're bull blank. I'm not going to read the word.
Thank you.
That carnivore means 100% meat is absolute ignorance. You are carnivore. I do not do the carnivore diet anymore because of this. It stressed me out right out of a good way of eating every time they would say, that's not carnivore. So dumb, and it is going to make them lose popularity if everybody is failing carnivore. I had so much success as a failing carnivore, it's so ridiculous that I allowed them to get to me. Still mad that I quit a year ago. I am ready to live a life like I am eating keto and carnivore, but keeping it low carb with plants so I have some flex. I'm tired of the diet dogma rules crap. This is what we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
And this is why moving forward, we are saying we are unapologetically keto.
You know, one of the conversations that I had on the low carb cruise so far really touched my heart. It really moved me. And it was because somebody that's very new, just starting in the last couple of months, brought along a friend who has no idea what keto is. And they were like, could you please explain to me the difference that you think is between keto and carnivore? Because every time I've asked questions in Facebook groups, I've been told I'm wrong and I'm not understanding it, and I've been belittled. When I look up different people that are leaders in different keto or carnivore, low carb spaces, I feel like I'm getting conflicting opinions. So what is it? And just that look in this person's eyes of really wanting to understand it, I thought, man, we are going to lose people because we are trying to make it too ticky-tack. It's like playing a game, only the rules of the game are constantly shifting and are unexplainable. So the person just eventually says, you know what? I think I know enough games and I just don't want to play anymore. Yeah. And I think you're seeing that a lot. So
exactly what happened to her.
Yeah. So I'm like, I think the best thing is, hey, what's keto? We're fat fueled. We use meat and vegetables. We cut out carbohydrates, and carnivore is just continuing to eliminate more and more ingredients, but it's the same umbrella. When I told her that, within 2 sentences, she was like, wow, I think that we were prepared to make it really, really complicated. And my friend, based on the definitions that she was getting in, was like, I will never understand this, so I don't think I can do this. Let us not cause people to not even give this a chance, because we're making the rules, the house rules of this Uno game, too hard.
It's like what you saw earlier with someone going, I can't do keto because of keto products and they contain things. I mean, again, you don't need to eat the keto products. And it's the same thing with the carnivore. You're literally having people, I can't do carnivore because there's people telling me I'm not carnivoring enough.
Well, and I think that we are very blessed, and I hope that you will make yourself available to local and even a low carb type of meetup opportunity, because when you are face to face with people, I find that carnivore hearts soften, keto people, we get sometimes resolved, but it's really hard to look at somebody not through a computer screen, not with like one post and another post that's just typed. It's really hard to look at somebody in the face and be like, you are so wrong. You don't know, I can't be your friend. I would never hang out with you. I could never go out to eat. I can't believe you eat that way. Ew, yuck. Like, you don't do that face to face, right?
Next one is from Robin.
Hey, Robin.
Said people keep making recipes that mimic foods from our old way of eating for several reasons. Nostalgia, convenience, casseroles, lettuce wrap, tacos, variety, flavor, fun, creativity. Also, there's nothing wrong with mimicking another food and using different ingredients. That's how new recipes are created. Couldn't have said it better myself.
I absolutely love the library. It's one of my favorite things. As we were driving into town, they said, oh, well, the Sitka library is closed today because it happens to be Sunday. And I was like, oh, that would have been cool to like go into the library. But I know going into the library, every single book is not for me. That's okay. I don't want them to shut down the library, right? I don't want you to shut down a bookstore just because every single thing is not for me. Take what's for you, incorporate what's for you into your life, and leave the rest.
Next one's from Bobby.
Hey, Bobby.
I don't like labels. I mostly eat animal products, but I also like a little bit of lettuce or cabbage sometimes. And I drink coffee, so that form of plant is okay too. I just try to eat good, healthy food. That's where we're going. And we even talked about it. We have made this mistake amongst ourselves sometimes, even here on this channel, where we'll be like, well, we eat carnivore. And I'm like, no, we eat mostly meat. That's when people ask us, what do you eat? We eat mostly meat.
But you also see vegetables.
But sometimes you're gonna eat vegetables. I hate to tell you, but, well, I'm proud to tell you, how's that sound? That on this cruise, I have eaten broccoli, asparagus, lettuce, I have had creamed spinach.
But if you go back to the earliest videos of this channel, you're going to see us eating the exact same thing. So, we haven't changed.
Yep.
I mean, and maybe that's, for some people, in some people's estimation, that's to our detriment. They believe that we haven't been, we haven't optimized, we haven't leveled up in a way that they're comfortable with. But you know what? Again, you don't have to do what we're doing exactly in order for us to be together as a community and cheer one another on. You do not need to find only bald men attractive. It's what works for me, right? And I'm thankful that you're my husband, that's it. You're the guy for me. It's okay if this is not exactly how you want to eat. You can have less ingredients or more ingredients, but you're always welcome, and we always think that you're our friends.
Yeah, sometimes we only eat meat.
Yeah.
Sometimes we only want a big salad.
Yeah.
And that's okay. And if you only want to eat meat, that's okay.
It's okay.
And if you want to include jalapeno poppers because cheese is delicious, that's okay.
You're in the right place.
Last one is from Life Station Express, Linda.
Hey, Linda.
Just had to throw this one in there. We grew up on grape Kool-Aid. It is a nostalgia thing, and I am all for it. I'm sorry, Rachel, but you are in the minority.
I can tell I am.
By the way, you look awesome.
Oh, well, thank you. I like that on the end, right?
She said you both look awesome.
Oh, okay. So, all right. Well, I appreciate that.
You are wearing the color for grape.
And that's where it should stay. It's on the outside of me. I'm not putting it on the inside of me. We were on the cruise. I want to say it was Sunday, and Joe says, you got to taste this. And it was, he got the beverage package. And so I took a sip of his soda, not knowing what in the world I was going to receive. And it was grape diet Sprite.
Grape Sprite.
Ugh.
It was awesome.
It was just as gross
and everybody
as you
else
imagine.
says it's awesome.
It's, you know what?
Because we need grape salty in our lives, and everybody should be typing hashtag grape salty down below and messaging Miriam that we need grape salty.
I'm going to have a good attitude. I'm going to take my own advice and say, you know what? Let there be whatever salty flavors that they can come up with, because I don't have to drink all of them. Whatever's for me, I will drink.
If we had a grape salty, that would be the only salty flavor.
Whatever's not for me, I will leave on the table for you and for anybody else to enjoy.
Let us know down in the comment section. Do you like grape? I mean, I'm going to just keep this on. Hopefully one day I'll get grape.
There's no living with them.
Now, that is going to be the end of today's Keto Beyond the Couch. Now, next week, we will be back live. Again, please head over to our Mighty Networks group, to our Facebook group. Leave your story. You can include your picture. You don't have to include your picture. Your story could be, I haven't eaten sugar in the last 5 days. I was able to actually get out and mow my lawn. Whatever your story is, make sure you leave it, share it. When you share your story, it does two things. Number one, it helps encourage you, but also it encourages other people.
Also, don't forget to hit the little bell button, and that way every single time we upload a new video, you'll be alerted to it.
Until next time,
Bye.